When most people think or talk about the church, they equate the church with a building. But if you think about it, that would mean that we are identifying our faith with a place that we spend very little of our time in the course of our lives, in the course of even a week. Biblically speaking, the church is a community of people. It's a family of God's people in a localized place. And that's really what we are trying to help people at City Church to embrace. This idea that the church is not simply a building, not simply an event or a gathering, but the church is us. We are the church. And what that means is that we get to be the church throughout the week, not only when we're together, but even in our own individual lives. We are God's people in everything that we are doing over the course of our lives, in the everyday stuff of life.
That is true. Do you like making jewelry?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do? Who'd you learn it from?
Mommy.
We make jewelry as a husband and wife team, and we have customers all over the United States and
the world.
In Europe and Asia. We've shipped pretty much all over the world, and we do it all from our house in Wilmington.
When I was younger, I loved carpentry. That's what I thought I'd get into growing up. I thought I'd build houses. Then I realized Jesus was a carpenter. It kind of blew me away.
I lived in Tilton Park for 5 years. In some places, it used to be known as a wild, wild west, where people would be afraid to come out to just associate with other neighbors. The park's recreation staff was stretched to the bare minimum, and they couldn't be out here every day cleaning up. And I was thinking to myself, hey, why don't I get involved and show the people that I am truly committed to this neighborhood?
Giving, I think, came before the business even started. We were poor. We were really poor when we had Norlai, and we would just pray, like, is there a way that we can give? I kept thinking, I really want to help somebody pay their rent. I remember coming to a point where I'm in the car and I was driving and I was praying, and I just thought, if this works out for us, we will be good stewards of this money. And it just never fails. We continue to test God in our giving, and sometimes that's really hard. It might seem like we do well, but sometimes it's down to that last 300. Sometimes I don't want to give, and he's like, we're giving, and it doesn't fail. It's like, I can't believe it. And the next day, you know, this big order comes in.
When I first got into contracting, yeah, I didn't know where the next paycheck was coming from. I didn't know where the next job was coming from. There were times where I literally, I would pray for a job, and you'd get a phone call right away. Many people were just like, oh, it's just a coincidence. It's not a coincidence at all, man. There are times where, man, I would have a challenge on a job, and I would pray about this challenge because I had no idea how to do it. And all of a sudden there's somebody there that knows exactly how to fix this challenge for you. And it would just blow me away.
When I think about the idea or the concept of Cultivate in my own personal life, obviously to start a church, we're about 5 years in now. I had to make some big decisions. My family had to make some big decisions to actually step out and do that. And in particular, he's placed me in a neighborhood, the Cool Spring Tilton neighborhood. And this has been a really rich experience for me, but also a challenging one at times, to meet my neighbors, to share life with my neighbors, to serve my neighbors, and to really be a part of what's going on locally here in the neighborhood.
I don't want to just stand back and assume someone else is going to do it. I just want to get involved and stay involved. I started something, I'm going to keep going regardless of the situation.
So I'm daily confronted with these challenges of cultivating and trusting in God's grace and His strength to move me out when, just given my personality and sometimes just my selfishness as a human being, I'd rather be all about myself, but I'm constantly learning to engage others, to think about other people, and to think about my neighborhood as a whole. We want to help equip people to live as apprentices of Jesus in all of life, to cultivate their faith in everything they're doing, to recognize that all of life is sacred. It's all a ground for living out our faith and our relationship with Jesus.